Well, hey there everyone, it's Barry's Best Honey. I'm Mike, and I don't do bees in the winter too often, but I'm gonna do a little bee observing here on the 25th of January. That's right folks, I'm out here in my yard in town, and if you remember right from any other videos we had two tiny NUCs out here. I really just want to see if they pulled through that Arctic blast that we had about a week ago, week and a half. I haven't been out here since. I see bees flying in all the other hives, and all the hives at home had life in them. Everybody made it through the freeze at home pretty well. Of course, we have these tiny NUCs out here. I've got bees flying in all these hives. Not a lot, but it's also very rainy, and it's not cold. It's about 60, 65, something in there. And not sunny, overcast, been raining for 2 or 3 days. So actually for 2.5, we've had over last night and yesterday in 8 hours period, we had 4.5 inches of rain. So we've got a lot of rain coming and going. So really, these are gonna be some irritated bees. You think the last time I opened that NUC it was bad? Nah, not really. I'm not gonna open it. Although I have my stuff to open if I need to. I did get thinking about out here. I've actually got a jacket, I've got some gloves, and I've got a smoker, which if I have a smoker, I just throw a veil on. But I got a bee coming and going from this little NUC. Question is, are they robbers? Or did it make it through the cold snap? Because if you remember right, it was pretty small too. Oh, they're not actually going in. So what I have is my infrared camera, and it's since there's a signature in it. If you can see that, there's a signature. And a bee just went in. And we'll see if it's heavy, because if it's heavy, that means it hasn't been robbed out. Because this one did have honey, although I did put a fondant cake on it. So it's heavy. And you know, curiosity killed the cat. Curiosity also got Mike stung up pretty good last time. But I've got time, and I want to open it up. And I want to see what's going on. So I'm gonna get my stuff on real quick, and I'm gonna light a smoker. So I see bees coming and going on that colony, and there was a couple coming out of here, but they just come in little spurts, not a lot of flight activity. And there's a big old drone coming in. Look at that, that was a big old drone. And they say there's no drones in the winter time. Down here there are. There's some bees coming. They're all coming back. I'm gonna take a look in this NUC real quick, just throw a veil on. Light a smoker, act like I've been here before, you know what I mean? Light a smoker this time. See if there's any bees in here. I saw a signature. Oh wow. They have torn that fondant up, folks. So that cluster made it through. Let's get this lid back on. Good deal with that. So there you go. That's done. Now what we're going to do is go check the little itty bitty one that was so sickly looking, so poor. That itty bitty cluster, I condensed it down, and then I turned around and put fondant on it. And I told you guys that freezing doesn't really affect the bees if they're any kind of nominal to strong hive, even a weak hive. If they have the ability to cluster, they can make it through a freeze, as long as they got food around them. They don't, where they can inch. That's exactly what I was telling y'all. And that fondant being there gave them something to go up against. So it was warm when we put it on, they went up against it, then they clustered, they had it right there at their disposal. Funny thing is, it always makes me feel better when I see guys like Bob Benny come out in a video a couple days later and confirm what I said. And he said that, and I was like, thank you, Bob, for saying that. Because there was a particular comment I got, it was such a textbook comment in a way, to where it was like, your hives aren't going to make it. And I agree, that one may not have made it. I haven't seen it yet. We're going to go look. But food is what I was concerned with, and space. If they can cluster, they can make it a lot of times. And we don't have freezes. We froze for about 4 to 5 days straight between the teens and the mid-20s. Bees can make it. And the textbook answer was, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. And you know, you get comments like that on Facebook, I mean on YouTube, and I take every comment with a grain of salt, and I appreciate the comments. I'm not knocking this person at all. But it's a textbook answer of something that, I mean, I've been doing this long enough now to know, I've said this many times in the past, there are so few absolutes in beekeeping. So to regurgitate a book sometimes, or to say this is how it is, there's a lot of variables in beekeeping, and so I don't go for that. I go, nope, let's try this, let's try that. Look, I don't know if they made it or not. That one definitely has no problem, and it's light, it's gonna need more fondant, but now that it's warming up, I can put some honey in it. But look, absolutes and what, hey, it's not gonna do it, it's not, never say never in beekeeping, because they'll blow your mind every time. So I'm gonna drive back there and check that one. I'm gonna see if I can get some heat signatures on the ones I don't see flying, like this one. This one's strong though, it should have no problem. But yeah, absolutes in beekeeping, very few. Variables, a whole bunch. Well folks, we're gonna see if this colony made it through. It was very, very cold for a tiny colony like this. And again, they just have to have the ability to cluster. If there's just not enough bees to form a cluster that can keep itself warm, it's not gonna make it. But and it was so super small, but all we can do, although it didn't seem very small when it came out after me. So there's, you can see the cluster on the one next to it. And if I go to this one, I see a little cluster at the very, very lid. Or I see a heat signature, I'm sorry. So I see some heat at the very, very top. That's a good sign. So my next step is, with this colony, I'm gonna put a veil on. A lot of people were asking why they were so mean. A lot of people, I say 2 or 3 of them asked why. They weren't really mean, they were provoked. Actually, this is usually not a bad colony at all as far as meanness, but it has a different queen than the one that was actually on the stand, because they were merged. So with who they were merged, I don't remember them being mean, but I don't have any out here. I only had one ornery colony out here, and it was back on the other stand, and that's the only one I ever had problems with. So they were just provoked. And you're going to see as we go through colonies in February, in a week or so, when I start pulling some of those spare supers off and moving some boxes, cleaning bottom boards and stuff, and getting ready for buildup, you're going to see where I got, the bees are very ferocious, it seems like, this time of year. As we begin to get in them, they haven't had anybody in them, and all of a sudden we begin to rip comb apart and we're pulling nests open. They do get ornery. It's just this time of year, they always do. Mid-March going in April, they're always settled on down. We've got more nectar flowing, everybody seems happy. So it's just one of the things I deal with every year down here. Gonna throw a little smoke to them. Put some smoke in the front. I hear them. I hear them. Yeah, I hear bees. I got a very thin t-shirt on, so if they get nasty, it's gonna be worse. Whoa, that didn't go well. Look at there. That itty bitty colony made it. So we're gonna put this back on. This little makeshift shim. It's still tiny, but it's alive. They have went through some fondant. Wow. I had to put some fondant on them. There you go, folks. So exactly what Bob Benny said, similar to what I said. Food saved them. It wasn't about, I mean, their size obviously was enough to cluster, and the food saved them. They were able to get to the food in the cluster. So there you go. So don't want to get pheromones going. All right. Well, praise the Lord. They are alive. So what saved those was food. They had a food source put right on top of them. While it was still warm, they were able to get into it. They had enough to cluster, which that's the only concern I had, was do they have enough to cluster? And our freezes for only, 2 days, and then we get above freezing for a few hours. They can pull it out sometimes, So these other bees, they're doing fine. I got a nice heat signature on that, which that's a nice colony. You can see that's got a nice cluster down there. That's a big colony. This is my other week when I'm getting no signature on it. So, well, if I get below that smoker, looks like they're down about just below the handle. Of course, our nuke, you can see the signature in the top. And then there's that one. It's got a nice heat signature. So I don't know how well the camera's picking it up, but the bottom line is the baby cluster pulled through. Well, there you are, folks. 2 for 2 on those. So there you go. Pulled through. Everybody else out here is alive. Everybody at home was alive as of the 2 days after the freeze. So that's a good thing. We're in the 60s today. We're dropping back in the 30s for a few days, but nothing major, no major freezes or anything like that. We're getting ready to roll into February, folks. Maybe next weekend, this weekend, it depends. Might be getting in some colonies, I don't know, but we shall see. Just as far as just a quick reversal, maybe clean some bottom boards, I don't know, we'll see. Something will be going on. I've always got something to do, especially as we ramp up. We'll be ramping up pretty quick. All right, guys, I appreciate y'all coming along this rainy, cool, overcast, cloudy day. We've got water everywhere, inches and inches of rain, and more coming tomorrow. All day today, all day yesterday. We're soaked. Said it was gonna be a wet winter. They were right. I'm gonna let y'all go. Appreciate all y'all watching. Hope you enjoyed it. It's Barry's Best Hunting. I'm Mike, and I do bees. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful week, and may God bless you. We'll see y'all later.